The smell of roasted turkey filled Mom's dining room, mixing with cinnamon from the candles she'd placed on every surface. Christmas at the Harrison household meant excess. Too much food, too much decoration, too much judgment. I sat at my usual spot at the far end of the table, the spot they'd been giving me since I was 12, and they decided I was the disappointing child. So Jordan, my brother-in-law Kenneth, began cutting his prime rib with precision, still doing the YouTube thing? My sister Amanda laughed, the sound sharp and practiced. She'd perfected that laugh in law school, the one that said I'm better than you without using words. Kenneth, it's not YouTube. It's some streaming platform nobody's heard of. What's it called again, Jordan? Streamville? Videobox. Various platforms, I said quietly, taking a bite of mashed potatoes. Various platforms, Dad repeated, setting down his fork with emphasis. That's what we paid $60,000 in tuition for. So you could upload videos to various platforms. Mom reached for her wine glass, her diamond bracelet, the one Dad bought her for their 30th anniversary, catching the light. We just worry, sweetheart. You're 31 years old. When are you going to get a real job? I have a job. Making internet videos isn't a job, Dad said flatly. It's a hobby that children have. You have a degree from Northwestern. Communications. You could be working at a real network, CBS, NBC, making a real salary with real benefits. I have benefits. Amanda snorted. What, free Wi-Fi at Starbucks? Kenneth chuckled dutifully. He always laughed at Amanda's jokes, even the mean ones. Especially the mean ones. Amanda, be nice. I'm sure Jordan's doing fine. How much do you make a year, Jordan? Ballpark. I took a sip of water. See. Dad gestured with his knife. Can't even answer. Probably makes $30,000 a year, maybe less. Meanwhile, Amanda just made junior partner at her firm. Kenneth's managing a team of 40 engineers. And you're filming yourself doing what exactly? I produce content, I said. Content, Mom repeated, making the word sound like something diseased. In my day we called that having a hobby. Your father and I gave you every advantage. Private schools, summer programs, that internship at the news station your senior year. And you threw it all away to make videos for teenagers. I don't make videos for teenagers. Then who? Amanda demanded. Who watches this stuff? Children. Unemployed people. Various demographics. Dad laughed, harsh and dismissive. Various demographics. That's marketing speak for, I don't know, and the numbers are embarrassing. The servers. Yes, my parents had hired servers for Christmas dinner. Came around with second helpings. I declined. My appetite had disappeared somewhere around the third insult. I talked to Richard Paulson at the club last week, Dad continued. He's the VP of programming at Channel 7. I mentioned you, said you'd studied communications, had some experience with video production. He said they might have an opening for an associate producer position. Entry level, but it's a foot in the door at a real organization. I appreciate that, but nothing, Dad interrupted. You can't keep doing this internet nonsense forever. You need stability. Health insurance. A 401k. A career path that doesn't depend on whether teenagers decide your videos are cool that week. I don't make videos for. Whatever you make, it's not sustainable, Mom interjected. Look at yourself. You're wearing a sweater from Target. Target. Amanda's wearing Armani. Mom, come on, Amanda said, but she was smiling. Not everyone values quality clothing. Quality anything apparently, Kenneth added. Jordan, no offense, but what's your 5-year plan? Where do you see yourself? Still uploading videos at 35? 40. I see myself continuing to produce. Produce, Dad interrupted again. You keep using that word. Producers work for studios. Production companies. Real organizations with real budgets. What you do is film things on your phone and hope they go viral. I don't film on my phone. Same difference, Mom said, waving her hand dismissively. The point is, this isn't a career. It's an extended adolescence. We're trying to help you, sweetheart. We want you to succeed. By your definition of success, I said quietly. The table went silent for a moment. Dad's face darkened. Are you saying success isn't having a stable job with good income? I'm saying success means different things to different people. Don't give me that participation trophy nonsense, Dad snapped. Success is measurable. Salary, title, benefits, respect. What you're doing gets you none of those things. Amanda leaned forward, her expression shifting to false sympathy. Jordan, I think what Mom and Dad are trying to say is that we're worried. You're living in that tiny apartment downtown. It's a one-bedroom. In a building without a doorman, she continued. You drive that old Honda. It runs fine. It's 12 years old, Kenneth pointed out. I just bought Amanda the new Tesla Model S. It's got features you wouldn't believe. Self-driving, premium sound system. That's what success looks like, Jordan. I don't need a Tesla. You need something, Mom insisted. Health insurance that's not the bare minimum. Savings. Investments. Retirement plan. Do you even have a retirement plan? I'm managing fine. Fine, Dad repeated. 31 years old and you're managing fine. That's not what we raised you for. We raised you for excellence. And instead, you're making internet videos in your apartment like some college dropout. I graduated summa cum laude. Which makes this even more frustrating. Dad's voice rose. You had potential. Real potential. And you're wasting it on content nobody will remember in 6 months. The servers brought out dessert. Some elaborate chocolate thing that probably cost more than my monthly grocery budget. I pushed it around my plate while my family discussed Amanda's latest case, Kenneth's promotion, their upcoming vacation to the Maldives. You should come visit us sometime, Jordan, Amanda said in a tone that made it clear she hoped I wouldn't. See how successful people live. Maybe it would inspire you to aim higher. I'm content with my work. Content, Mom sighed. That's exactly the problem. You're content with mediocrity. Content with just getting by. That's not the Harrison way. The Harrison way, Dad added, is excellence. Making something of yourself. Not hiding behind a camera filming God knows what for an audience of nobody. I have an audience. How many? Kenneth challenged. Come on, give us a number. How many subscribers or followers or whatever you call them? I took a bite of chocolate cake. See? Amanda said triumphantly. Can't even admit it. Probably has like 5,000 followers. My Instagram has more than that and I barely post. Social media followers aren't the same as. Aren't the same as what? Dad demanded. Success. Career advancement. Respect from your peers? You're right, they're not the same. They're meaningless. Mom reached over and patted my hand, her expression dripping with manufactured concern. Sweetheart, we're not trying to hurt you. We're trying to wake you up. You're living in a fantasy world where internet videos count as a career. But reality is coming whether you like it or not. And when it does, you're going to regret wasting your 30s on this nonsense. I'm not wasting. You are, she said firmly. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can start building a real life. Richard Paulson's offer stands. Associate producer at Channel 7. Real salary, real benefits, real respect. Think about it. I don't need to think about it. Dad's fork clattered against his plate. That's exactly your problem. You don't think. You just drift along, pretending that posting videos online is a legitimate career path. Meanwhile, your sister is making junior partner. Kenneth's being groomed for VP. And you're, what? Hoping for viral fame. I'm not hoping for fame. Then what are you hoping for? Amanda asked. Seriously, Jordan. What's the end game here? Because from where we're sitting, it looks like you're treading water and calling it swimming. I set down my fork carefully. I'm building something. Building what? Kenneth challenged. A YouTube channel? A TikTok following? Those aren't careers, Jordan. They're distractions from the fact that you're afraid to compete in the real world. Afraid to compete, Dad agreed, nodding. That's exactly it. You're hiding behind this internet nonsense because you're scared to put yourself out there in a real job where you'd be measured against real standards. I'm measured every day, I said quietly. By whom? Mom asked. Teenage viewers who give you thumbs up. That's not measurement, that's validation from people who don't understand how the world works. The conversation drifted after that. They talked about Amanda's firm, Kenneth's engineering projects, Mom's charity work at the country club. I sat quietly, eating mechanical bites of dessert, counting the minutes until I could reasonably leave. Oh. Mom suddenly brightened. The Emmys are on tonight. We always watch the Emmys on Christmas. Remember when you were little, Jordan? You used to say you wanted to win an Emmy someday. Cute dream, Amanda said. Before reality set in. Before he gave up, Dad corrected. If Jordan had pursued a real career in television, who knows? Maybe he'd be nominated someday. But you can't win Emmys making internet videos in your apartment. Actually, Kenneth said, pulling out his phone, I think the Creative Arts Emmys or whatever they're called do have some digital categories now. You know, throwing a bone to the YouTubers. Participation trophies, Dad muttered. Cheapens the whole thing. Mom stood, smoothing her designer dress. Let's move to the living room for the broadcast. Jordan, you'll stay, won't you? Even if you don't have a real career in television, you can still appreciate what actual professionals accomplish. I followed them to the living room, all leather furniture and a television bigger than my bedroom window. Dad turned on the broadcast, which was already in progress. Some actor I didn't recognize was accepting an award for a show I'd never watched. Now that's success, Dad said, gesturing at the screen. National recognition. Peer respect. That's what you could have had if you'd made different choices. Still could have it, Mom added hopefully. If you take Richard's offer. Start at the bottom, work your way up. 10 years from now, you could be up there accepting an award. 10 years from now, Jordan will still be in his apartment filming videos nobody watches, Amanda said. She'd refilled her wine glass, her fourth or fifth of the evening. Some people just aren't cut out for real success. Kenneth laughed. Come on, Amanda. Maybe Jordan will go viral someday. That's worth something, right? Sure, she said. Like winning the lottery. Except with worse odds and no actual money. The broadcast continued. More awards, more speeches, more people in expensive clothes accepting statues from other people in expensive clothes. My family provided running commentary on who deserved to win, who was robbed, which shows were quality and which were garbage. The production values on these shows, Dad said during a commercial break, that's real work. Hundreds of people, millions of dollars, actual talent. Not just some kid with a camera. Jordan's not a kid, Mom corrected. He's a 31-year-old man who still lives like a kid. Same thing, Amanda said, giggling slightly. The wine was hitting her now. My baby brother, the eternal adolescent. Never grew up, never will. It's sad really, Kenneth agreed. All that potential completely wasted. The broadcast returned. The presenter, some actress from a medical drama, walked to the microphone. And now we come to one of the evening's most prestigious awards. The Emmy for Outstanding Producer for a Drama Series. Now this is the big leagues, Dad said, leaning forward. Producer. That's a real job, Jordan. That's what you should aspire to, not posting videos online. The nominees are, the actress continued, reading from the teleprompter. She listed 5 names, 5 major network shows, 5 producers who'd been in the industry for decades. Any one of them would be deserving, Mom commented. That's what happens when you work in real television. You get recognized by your peers. And the Emmy goes to... The actress opened the envelope, her expression shifting to surprise. Oh, this is unexpected. The Emmy goes to Jordan Harrison for Fractured Minds, a documentary series. The living room went absolutely silent. What? Amanda said. On screen, the camera was cutting away from the major network show's tables, panning across the audience, searching. The broadcast director seemed confused. Jordan Harrison? The actress repeated, looking offstage at someone. For Fractured Minds? She paused, listening to something in her earpiece. I'm being told this is a streaming documentary series. Jordan Harrison, are you here? Dad had gone pale. That can't be. It's your name, Mom whispered. But it can't be you. You make internet videos. The broadcast cut to a pre-recorded package, standard for when winners couldn't attend in person. A montage of scenes from my documentary series began playing. Intimate interviews with people struggling with mental illness, beautifully shot footage of treatment facilities, powerful moments of breakthrough and recovery. The narrator's voice came over the footage. Jordan Harrison's groundbreaking documentary series, Fractured Minds, premiered on Streamverse to critical acclaim and unprecedented viewership. The 8-part series follows 12 individuals through their mental health journeys, combining raw emotional honesty with sophisticated cinematography and production values that rival major network documentaries. Streamverse, Kenneth said faintly. That's That's not a small platform. The series garnered over 200 million views in its first month, the narrator continued, making it the most-watched documentary series in streaming history. Harrison's innovative approach, combining traditional documentary techniques with interactive elements and real-time audience engagement, has been called revolutionary by critics and mental health professionals alike. Amanda's wine glass slipped from her hand, splashing red wine across Mom's white carpet. Nobody moved to clean it up. Harrison's work has been credited with reducing mental health stigma and inspiring over 50,000 viewers to seek treatment for their own conditions, the narrator continued. The series has won numerous awards, including the Peabody, the DuPont Columbia, and now, the Emmy for Outstanding Producer for a Drama Series. The montage showed more clips. Moments I'd filmed over 18 months, thousands of hours of footage edited down to 8 perfect episodes. The final shot was my production company's logo, Horizon Productions. Due to his commitment to an upcoming project, the narrator explained, Jordan Harrison could not attend tonight's ceremony. He sent this recorded message. My face appeared on screen. I'd recorded the acceptance speech 2 weeks ago just in case. I stood in my tiny apartment, which the camera now revealed to be a converted warehouse space. 4,000 square feet of production equipment, editing bays, and a small filming studio. Thank you to the Academy, my recorded self said. This award belongs to the 12 brave individuals who shared their stories, to my incredible crew of 40 talented professionals, and to everyone who watched and engaged with the series. Mental health matters, and I'm honored that our work has contributed to an important conversation. The broadcast cut back to the actress on stage. She looked dazed. Congratulations to Jordan Harrison. And now. Dad grabbed the remote and paused the broadcast. The room remained silent except for the sound of Amanda's ragged breathing. 200 million views, Kenneth finally said. Jordan, is that real? I nodded slowly. You won an Emmy, Mom whispered. An actual Emmy. Yes. For a documentary series, Dad said, his voice strange and hollow. On Streamverse. Yes. Streamverse, Amanda repeated. She pulled out her phone with shaking hands, typing rapidly. Streamverse, oh my God. It's the third largest streaming platform in the world. It's owned by Jordan, it's owned by MediaTek Corporation. They have 200 million subscribers. 230 million, I corrected quietly. Kenneth was on his phone now too. Fractured minds. Let me look this up. Jordan, there are thousands of articles about this series. The New York Times, The Guardian, Variety. There's a whole Wikipedia page. It says you had a budget of. He paused, his face going white. $15 million. 18 million, I said. We went over budget during post-production. Mom's hand was shaking as she reached for her wine glass. $18 million. For your little internet videos. It's not little, Amanda said, still scrolling frantically. It's not little at all. Jordan, this article says you've been nominated for 12 other awards. 12. And you've won 7 of them. 8 now, I pointed out. Including the Emmy. Dad stood up abruptly, then sat back down. The crew of 40. You said crew of 40. Cinematographers, sound technicians, editors, researchers, coordinators, I listed. Plus another 20 contractors for specific episodes. It was a substantial production. Substantial, he repeated numbly. Kenneth was reading aloud from his phone now. Jordan Harrison, 31, is the founder and creative director of Horizon Productions, an independent production company that has produced award-winning content for multiple streaming platforms. His first series, Voices Unheard, garnered critical acclaim and established him as a rising talent in documentary production. His sophomore effort, Fractured Minds, has solidified his position as one of the most important documentary producers of his generation. One of the most important, Mom echoed faintly. There's more, Kenneth continued. Harrison's company employs 42 full-time staff and has an annual operating budget of approximately $30 million. His personal net worth is estimated at. He stopped abruptly. What? Amanda demanded. How much? It says between $20 and $30 million. The silence that followed was absolute. Million, Dad finally said. Dollars. That can't be right, Amanda said desperately, grabbing Kenneth's phone. She read it herself, her face going from red to white to red again. No, this is wrong. Jordan lives in a tiny apartment. He drives an old Honda. He shops at Target. I like Target, I said calmly. And my apartment is 4,000 square feet. The Honda is reliable. I don't need flashy things. Mom was crying now, tears running down her carefully made-up face. But you never said. You never asked, I pointed out. You asked what I do. I told you I produce content. You asked about my work. I said I was building something. You assumed it was small and meaningless because I didn't show up in designer clothes driving an expensive car. You let us, Rachel said, her voice breaking. You sat there and let us call you a failure. You called me a failure, I corrected. I never agreed with you. Dad's face had gone from pale to red. The associate producer position. I offered you an associate producer position. At Channel 7, I agreed. Entry level. I'm sure it's a fine opportunity for someone starting out. Starting out, he repeated. You've won an Emmy. You have a production company. You employ 40 people. 42, I corrected. 43 if you count my business manager. Kenneth was still scrolling through articles. Jordan, it says here that Streamverse signed you to a 3-series deal. Exclusive content. The contract is worth. He swallowed hard. $65 million. Amanda made a sound like a wounded animal. That's the potential maximum if all 3 series hit certain viewership targets, I explained. The guaranteed minimum is $38 million over 5 years. Still, it's a comfortable arrangement. Comfortable, Mom repeated hysterically. $38 million is comfortable. It allows me to focus on quality storytelling without worrying about commercial pressures, I said. Which is important for documentary work. Dad stood up again, pacing now. All those times we told you to get a real job. You already had a real job. Several, technically. I produce, direct, and run a company. Why didn't you tell us? Amanda demanded, tears streaming down her face now. Why did you just sit there and take it? Because I wanted to see if you respected me for my work or for my income, I said simply. And now I know. That's not fair, Mom protested weakly. Isn't it? 2 hours ago, you were trying to get me an entry-level position at a local TV station because you thought I was a failure. Now you know I've won an Emmy and suddenly everything's different. Of course it's different. Dad exploded. You're successful. You're accomplished. You've made something of yourself. I was successful 2 hours ago, I pointed out. I was accomplished last year when I won the Peabody Award. I made something of myself 3 years ago when I founded my company. The only thing that changed tonight is your awareness of those facts. Kenneth had pulled up my company's website on his phone. Your next project. Says here you're working on a series about climate refugees. Filming in 12 countries. Budget of $25 million. $27 million, I corrected. We added locations in Southeast Asia. $27 million, he repeated. And you're the executive producer? The director. And primary cinematographer for certain sequences. I like to stay hands-on with the visual storytelling. Amanda was openly sobbing now. I called you a waste of education. I said you were living like a college dropout. You did say those things. Jordan, I'm so sorry, I didn't know. That's exactly the problem, I interrupted gently. Your apology is based on knowing my income now. Would you be sorry if I was actually struggling? If I really was making $30,000 a year posting videos in a small apartment? She opened her mouth, then closed it. I thought so, I said. Mom reached for me with shaking hands. Sweetheart, please. We made a mistake. A terrible mistake. But we're family. We can move past this. Can we? I asked. Because it seems like your definition of family is conditional on success. 2 hours ago I embarrassed you. Now I'm someone you want to claim. That's not true, she insisted. Then tell me, I said calmly. If I had come here tonight and told you I made $40,000 a year, lived in a small apartment and was happy with my work, would you have been happy for me? Would you have supported me? Or would you still be pushing me toward Channel 7? The silence was answer enough. Kenneth cleared his throat. Jordan, for what it's worth, the work itself is incredible. I pulled up the first episode of Fractured Minds. The production values are stunning. The storytelling is powerful. This is legitimately groundbreaking work. Thank you, I said. That means more than the awards do. But the awards, Dad said weakly. An Emmy. A Peabody. Jordan, do you understand what you've accomplished? Yes, I said simply. Do you understand that I was accomplishing it while you were calling it internet nonsense? He sank back into his chair, his face gray. I was trying to protect you. To guide you towards stability. You were trying to force me into your definition of success, I corrected. There's a difference. Amanda was scrolling through something on her phone now. The premiere of Fractured Minds. There are photos from the screening. Jordan, you're in pictures with, is that the Surgeon General? She participated in the panel discussion after the premiere. Very insightful perspective on public health approaches to mental health care. The Surgeon General, Mom whispered. You met the Surgeon General. And the director of the National Institute of Mental Health. And several prominent researchers. And about 30 people whose stories we told in the series. They were the real stars. Kenneth was still reading. Your series has been adopted by over 200 universities as educational material. Medical schools are using it. Jordan, you've created something that's actually changing how people approach mental health. That was always the goal, I said. Not the awards. Not the recognition. The impact. But the awards, Rachel repeated. Jordan, you won an Emmy. On Christmas. While we were calling you a failure. The timing is ironic, I agreed. Dad's voice came out hoarse. What can we do? To fix this? To make this right? I stood up, brushing invisible lint from my Target sweater. You can start by examining why your respect for me changed based on my income. And then maybe work on becoming people who value character and passion over bank accounts and job titles. Where are you going? Mom asked desperately. Back to my apartment. My comfortable 4,000 square foot apartment with the excellent natural light and the editing bay I had custom built. I have work to do. The Climate Refugee series isn't going to produce itself. Jordan, please, Amanda said. Don't leave like this. We're sorry. Really, genuinely sorry. Are you sorry for how you treated me? I asked. Or sorry that you misjudged my financial status? She couldn't answer. I walked toward the door, then paused. Oh, and Dad? Richard Paulson, the VP at Channel 7? His station contacted my production company last month. They want to license Fractured Minds for broadcast. We declined because we have an exclusive streaming deal, but I appreciated the interest. I'll let them know you put in a good word. His face went even paler. And Amanda? I continued. That Tesla Kenneth bought you? Very nice. I leased one last year for location scouting but found I preferred the Honda. Better fuel efficiency, easier to park in the warehouse district. Sometimes practical beats flashy. I opened the door, letting in the cold December air. Merry Christmas, I said quietly. I hope you enjoy the rest of the Emmy broadcast. I hear there are some really talented people being recognized tonight. People who do real work. Professional work. The kind of work that matters. I left them there. Mom crying into her expensive wine. Dad staring at nothing, Amanda and Kenneth frantically scrolling through article after article about my success, my impact, my career that they'd spent years dismissing as internet nonsense. My phone buzzed as I walked to my Honda. My business manager. Congratulations on the Emmy. Streamverse wants to discuss expanding the deal. Call when you can. I smiled, getting into my practical, reliable 12-year-old car. Sometimes the best revenge isn't proving people wrong. It's proving that you never needed them to be right.